Well, it's not that I don't want to see them play it, but what I think is most likely to succeed is not going to be the Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman. I'm hoping that they've practiced more than just a Windwalker Death Knight, because I see that even potentially having a bit of a struggle. Obviously with the Tiger Eye Brew, they maybe could overcome that Demon Armor, but what they should really do is basically steal the composition that Method Orange have been running and try and implement that strategy. They've seen it executed time and time again. Just take it, copy it, and make it their own, and they could easily be winning games with this. Maybe they can bring in WizK on Death Knights and have Jelly Beans practice Demon Hunter, or have Peekaboo practice Demon Hunter. It seems like that would have been the best usage of their time, but if it's not ready, it's not ready.
Every now and then, a good copy pasta feels good, and sometimes a good copy pasta can get a win as well, Zico.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to copy pasta Method Orange and pick up the Demon Hunter, but Windwalker DK is likely, but Rogue DK would also mean that they get a lot more comfort, and they would still be able to achieve similar results, so I really would love to see that. Probably not going to be the case, though. Let's go! The move, baby.
This is actually a composition we've seen from the move before. They used it to counter Method Orange back in the day. They said, you know what, you're going to run it our Shaman, we're going to run it your Shaman better, and we'll have to see if this composition could work.
I don't know if they're going to run it the Shaman. I think the point of this is to have the Assassination Rogue to boost the damage against the high armor target, the Warlock, and then have the Death Knight have Necrotic Strike stacking up, reducing the incoming healing, and really just disrupt the Warlock from getting Chaos Bolt as frequently as possible, keep up the sustained pressure to run Metaphors out of mana, and then they look to deny drinks from Metaphors. The move are trying to bring in some surprise here in game number 1 against Storm. What I thought was interesting is everybody at home watching, you guys really think the move are going to be able to take this, but the last time these teams went head-to-head, it was grim for the move. So I'm not sold just yet.
Yeah, Maldiva getting gripped in. Infernals were used, so the move just trying to avoid a little bit of damage there from that Destruction Warlock. Metaphors playing very far away. He's already used his Trinket, and he's burning through mana quite quickly. He might have to go for a drink, but there's just been no damage on Maldiva. Still been able to tank through a lot of this pressure. WizK is going to be charging in, lands the Asphyxiate stun on Metaphors, buying his team a little bit of time to start getting some pressure onto Maldiva. Smoke Bomb gets dropped out, but a preemptive Iron Bark will deny any further pressure, and that was all 3 Maledicts from the move, and Maldiva seems to be doing just fine.
Yep, easy trade for Storm. Mana, though, not looking that great for Metaphors, as he is pretty much entirely behind that of Absturge, and that's likely to be the name of the game here with this constant pressure of the Assassination Rogue and Necrotic Strikes of the Death Knight, is just to sustain pressure and disrupt the Warlock, and eventually Metaphors runs out of mana. But of course they need to stop Metaphors from finding drinks. WizK snipes that one with a Death and Decay. Perfect timing on his part, but now Peekaboo is starting to fall behind as Nesper continues a crowd control chain onto Absturge, and actually maybe looking to close the fight. Peekaboo repositions, hiding away from the combat, waiting for Absturge to get out to save him. Now Maldiva is trying to turn up the heat, cranking out that Dark Soul, but getting denied by Peekaboo. Good coordination so far between WizK and Peekaboo to disrupt Maldiva, but now he gates to safety, avoiding that Maledict connect, that healing absorption effect. Really well done on Maldiva's part, but still, Metaphors needs to try and set up a drink.
Yeah, full blind on Metaphors. He trinkets out immediately once again, and that's a fair trade. We often see healers just immediately trinket the blind, so they don't end up sitting one a little bit later on. Just a fair trade. Does mean Metaphors doesn't have trinket for anything else, but there's really not that much of a threat of crowd control. The only thing I could really see happening is potentially Peekaboo going for a sap with his Vanish if Metaphor sits down for a drink, so Storm has to be careful of that, but so far, Maldiva, he really hasn't been taking too much pressure. Eventually, though, if we do get into dampening, it will be much easier for them to take Maldiva down. He's a lot of self-healing right now, and when that gets limited, their potential for a kill is much higher, but Nesper's been doing a really good job, once again, with this Fan of Knives specialization, putting out pressure on Peekaboo and WizK. Absurge's mana isn't doing great, and he's not going to have the opportunity to actually sit down in stealth to look for drinks, so once he's out of mana, I think it's going to be very difficult for the move to stay alive. Nice kidney shot coming in from Nesper. Going to be trying to whittle down Peekaboo's HP. Anti-Magic Zone gets dropped by WizK, but I don't think that was actually any cooldowns from Maldiva, so a bit of a waste there. And now, the move, they don't have that available for the Infernals or the Demon Soul, and Maldiva realizes, immediately pulling the trigger on that Infernal.
Yeah, he needs to ramp up with that Grimoire Supremacy, so his Rain of Fire comes down from the sky. That increases the damage of the next Chaos Bolt. Peekaboo and WizK know it, and they're trying to duck for cover, but that double Mortal Coil clotheslines them. They grip Maldiva into the pillar. This is maybe a risky decision if he is able to get a couple Chaos Bolts. Trying to get he baits the interrupts on a Demonic Gateway cast. Now potentially opens up for some Chaos Bolts. Not finding them. Would have really liked to see some counter aggression there. Could have maybe pulled a Cloak of Shadows from Peekaboo. Maldiva gates to safety. Peekaboo, though, out of line of sight. Maldiva forced to hit a different target, that being WizK, but WizK is just tanking all of that damage with Anti-Magic Shield. Nesper now getting swapped to. Potentially, he is ultimately the kill target. The move focus on Disruption, and then make a swap for the kill into Dampening. It could definitely be effective.
Yeah, definitely. Having multiple pressure points on your team, or on your enemy team, is definitely important. Metaphor's mana is not doing well, and they have been able to deny the drinks. WizK has been doing a good job with his Death and Decay, with his off stuns. Metaphor's now sneaking away. Will he be able to generate a little bit of mana? He's trying to get himself in a prime position. WizK marches over. If he gets the Death and Decay, now Metaphor's. He's wasted a lot of time. And if Metaphors is looking for these drinks and I'm able to find them, those are moments where he's not healing and opportunities for the move to actually get some pressure on Maldiva.
All right, Metaphors has snuck away. Do they see him? Do they know where he is? Are they going to deny the drink? It doesn't appear to be the case. They're not finding the denial. Metaphors gets a lead. Maldiva tries to counter-aggress, but gets dropped in the smoke bomb by Peekaboo. Peekaboo looking to try and find a kill here as Dampening has set foot into the match. Maldiva makes a trade. Metaphors overlaps. Big defensive blowout for Storm, and they're still falling behind. Blind now trinketed. Huge cooldowns pulled by the side of the move. Potential opening for them now. Nesper's got Smoke Bomb. Curious to see who he decides to go after with that. Potentially WizK. Although Icebound Fortitude available to easily trade, it's unlikely that we see that be the case. Maldiva gets stun locked. Metaphor's timing some heals, but even still appears to be struggling to heal at 5% dampening and basically no mana left. And the move may have crafted a composition that can carry them to victory against Storm.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot better for the move. Having Peekaboo on his Rogue over his Windwalker Monk seems to be working out a lot better. Off stun now on Metaphors. Maldiva is getting low. These interrupts are getting higher and higher. Maldiva's not able to really get out the pressure that he needs. Full kidney shot secured once again. Getting lower, we're at 7% dampening, and I really feel like the move, they came up with a good composition. Well done by Zico, also sort of predicting that this was the matchup we would see. Maldiva looking for a Chaos Bolt. Smoke Bomb does get dropped out. I believe that is Peekaboo's Smoke Bomb. Actually, Nesper's Smoke Bomb there, so trying to deny some heals from Absterge, but he's right on top of his team. Drops Spirit Link Totem. The move will survive, but Metaphors in the meantime has managed to completely top off Maldiva in this situation, now using Innervate, trying to keep him fully hotted up before potentially going for a drink.
Absterge cannot afford to get close to his teammates, or that Fan of Knives build Nesper is running will just rip them to shreds. He needs to make sure he's far away, but a Spell Lock might close the game out here for Storm. Well timed by Maldiva. Infernals are available. Is Maldiva going to pull the trigger and try and go for the kill? Infernals have moved in. Storm look to close this out. Chaos Bolt being channeled. Able to be avoided. They've got them pinned down. Metaphors took the opportunity to drink, reset that, and gain a huge edge in regards to mana. Absterge now, once again, the entire team of the move are against the wall with basically nothing left to work with. Can they manage to pull it off? They need a top performance here. They need more points if they want to qualify to the spring finals, but they're just battling against the meta, and time again, they fall short despite their best efforts. They've got one opportunity left in the lower bracket to stay alive, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, Maldiva, though, with no unending resolve. Peekaboo actually has an opportunity with his Vendetta. If they can somehow pull out the Iron Bark before that cooldown goes up, they might be able to take him down, but I don't really see Maldiva dying through Iron Bark at this point in the game. Absterge really doesn't have too much mana to assist in terms of dispels. Nesper moving in, or getting gripped in, actually, into a kidney shot. Now Nesper could potentially be a good target here for the move, but with Vanish and Cloak of Shadows, he can get out of jail basically anytime he wants. Fan of Knives just ripping into all three members of the move. Peekaboo rotting down lower now. The move realizing they have to do something. They have to push in. Metaphors trinkets out of blind. Looking for some damage onto Maldiva once again, but it is WizK that is in trouble. Maldiva looking for some immolates, gets caught into the kidney shot, and the move just forced defensive once again behind the pillar, and this is looking kind of hopeless for them.
I mean, it's been looking hopeless for them this entire season, but they've still managed to at least keep some points accrued to their names. Maybe they can kill Nesper in a stun lock. Do they have enough damage to push him over the edge? No, and now they are stacked up. Nesper says, hello, Fan of Knives, and he's going to be maybe working towards a triple kill here shortly. WizK drops an anti-magic zone to try and protect the team, but they're still just clumped up together. Perfect for Nesper to deal out devastating damage. Metaphors with a commanding lead in terms of mana. Perfect positioning. There's no sign of weakness on the side of Storm. Storm. It would be a throwaway for them to lose the match at this point. All they have to do is push forward and close this one out. Finally, some counter pressure onto Maldiva. He gets through multiple interrupts, now opening up opportunity for Chaos Bolts. The longer they stay stacked up, the more Fan of Knives are just going to hit them in the face, and it's not looking good. Abster's doing his best to work with basically nothing. A death grip, nice death grip on Nesper around the corner. Metaphors gets cross-stunned. Good crowd control by the move. Are they going to be able to do it?
I don't know. Nesper's getting low, and this is scary. Nesper has no cooldowns left. If he consistently gets caught into these kidney shots with the grips, Metaphor's mana's not doing well. He doesn't have Iron Bark. I could definitely see them taking him down. Just need to keep line of sighting. They're turning their attention onto Maldiva. I don't necessarily agree with this completely. Maldiva's going to be able to gate away if he needs to. Now in center field, move can't really chase, but they do grip him back. Now Maldiva, once again, a prime target. Metaphors with his Innervate is able to keep up those expensive heals and keep his team rolling, but at 30% dampening, this Assassination Rogue and this Death Knight, their damage becomes significant on this Destruction Warlock.
Yeah, and they're hitting 2 targets at once with both pressure on Maldiva and Nesper. It could be an opportunity for the move to stay in the fight. Vendetta available. Peekaboo's got an opportunity to get a kill. Do they have any crowd control for Metaphors? Likely they do have blind. They can blind, stun the Trinket, and just one-shot Nesper. They pop the Vendetta. They go for the smoke bomb kill on Maldiva. Gets denied with double defense. Now Maldiva looks to counter-aggress. They cannot afford to be hit by a Chaos Bolt in this position. The move, they need to think about aborting the mission. If they get caught and get clotheslined, it's going to be curtains for them. Peekaboo ducks around the corner. Maldiva trying to get in line of sight. Just not able to get over there. He's trying to ramp up at least. Maybe a kidney shot by Nesper, holding one target in place for Maldiva. No, instead using Infernals to zone out the team so Metaphors can drink and continue to have an advantage. They've been doing great to set up Metaphors drinks, but they just seem to be lacking enough damage to put the move down. And if you give the move even one opportunity in this tournament, they will turn this game completely on its head. Peekaboo getting stunned. Maldiva gets gripped into the fight. Metaphors with no Iron Bark on 17 seconds. Can WizK carry the team here? He's got offensive cooldowns available to lead the charge, and they have to take Maldiva here. It's do or die.
They might be able to. Maldiva's getting lower. On any resolve is down.
Oh.
Can they take him down? Metaphors needs to find some healing. Maldiva gates away. Does WizK have the death grip? Doesn't look like he does, but Peekaboo and WizK, they're charging in. It's do or die. I don't think Metaphors has the healing to keep him alive, waiting to commit his Iron Bark. Now finally using it, and now the move may have been baited. The Iron Bark, I think, is enough to keep Maldiva alive. WizK, Peekaboo, Absters, they don't have a pillar to run and hide at anymore. Maldiva gets kicked on the Chaos Bolt. They need to find these interrupts consistently. Don't allow Maldiva to do any damage. That's the only hope the move has in this matchup. I think Maldiva could actually fall. Smoke Bomb gets dropped out by Peekaboo. Anti-Magic Zone denying a lot of the damage, and the move managed to hold on, take Maldiva down in an absolute miracle.
Oh my goodness, Sid just a few short seconds ago said if the Storm lost here, it would be an absolute throwaway, but they're up against the move, baby.
That was just the eye of the storm. Peekaboo and WizK and Absterge, of course, managed to navigate through it.
Oh.
Metaphors? Oh.
No way.
There's no way.
Abster's just gonna let bad manner doggying over there.
I was like, oh. Looked kind of close there for a second. Abster's just playing around a little bit. Very nice. I like this composition a lot from the move. I like how they played it as well, and that's the thing. Even though Abster's has a low amount of mana, his healing is a lot more mana cost efficient. That Shaman Mastery as well doing wonders in deep dampening, and they just keep their composure here on the side of the move, managing to actually take down Maldiva at the end of things. But it was a tough road. How doable is this? Again and again.
That is an important question. Are we in a scenario where the move has figured out a composition, it is repeatable, or if we get to different maps, if we just see this play out more times, does Storm manage to take this?
Well, I feel like this is actually semi-repeatable for the move. They didn't seem like they were under much threat once they were behind the pillar. Nesper was getting decent damage off with this Fan of Knives, but Maldiva wasn't able to connect any pressure whatsoever. And then you just get to this snowball situation where it's deep dampening. Maldiva doesn't have any cooldowns left to really get damage rolling or survive. Then you have WizK interrupting him, Peekaboo interrupting him, Absurge grounding and wind shearing, and the damage that Maldiva is able to get off is just not high enough, and they just sort of got overrun.
Yeah, this push in the end is so great as well. Throughout the game in general, they were constantly doing this little hit and run on Maldiva. He would get to the open, they would go back at the pillar, they would grip Nesperin to still have some kind of pressure in the match. But then, when dampening was deep enough, when they had Cloak of Shadows, they were healthy enough, they decided to just pull the trigger, chase Maldiva down, and they had a nice cross stun as well with that asphyxiate, and it puts the Metaphors in a really awkward situation because dampening is so high and you know you're going to fall behind. Do you want to trinket it? No, you don't, because there's always that threat of the blind as well. And they didn't do the best job actually shutting down these drinks. This map certainly is big, and they still managed to win. I think if they lose on the next map, which probably is going to be even bigger, they could still bring it to small quarters. And on maps like Took Point or Dalaran Sewers even, there's also the threat of Metaphors just getting straight up stabbed when he goes for those drinks. Peekaboo can just pop his vanish, run over there and find Metaphors in stuff, sap him up, and that's going to just give them so much more pressure as well.
So how, if you are Storm, do you start to change it around? Are you confident in what you have right now, Sid, or are you saying, okay, we need to adjust a tiny bit after we see this composition come out from the move?
I feel like Rogue Mage would just own DK Rogue. Would just completely smash it. But obviously, Storm haven't maybe practiced that enough to be able to take out the move, but just compositionally, I see Rogue Mage being their best option, and they technically have those classes on their team.
Do you think that they're ready to break out the Rogue Mage here?
I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you get the Mage, right?
The Sheepy Boy, he's very familiar. He plays with a rogue named Stun God on the ladder. That's basically all they play, is that Rogue Mage setup. I know Nesper is familiar with Rogue Mage as well, and I feel like if they are playing the Assassination Rogue with the Frost Mage, that's going to be a comfort pick for them. Metaphors on the Restoration Druid is going to have to do a good job backing them up. In this particular matchup, and I have to agree with Sid, I feel like that is a good matchup for them, although I don't think it's a 100% free win. At this point, basically any game Peekaboo's in, I'm never counting that team out.
Right, yeah. It's one of those things where when we look at teams like this, when they have that player in, when they have their rogue in, they look so strong. Peekaboo in particular is somebody that can be that X factor for the team. And WizK, you look at WizK, and he was one of the people on the team last year that even started to pick up different specs. Now, Dalaran Sewer seems a little bit strange to pick, Zico.
Yeah, I want to see the move just blind lock the same thing because it's Dalaran Sewers. Had it been a bigger map, I would have said maybe they should default back to that rogue Shadow Priest Rest Shaman. But on a small map, I think they should just go for it. Blind, yeah, and they are going to go for it. I like that a lot, actually. On this map, Abster's going to have an easier time shutting down drinks. Well, presumably this is Storm trying to take away that map from the side of the move. They're probably going to bring in Sheepy Boy here on the side of Storm, and they want to just try to win on a bad map with a good matchup, and then not have to worry about that map later on in case it goes back to the Rogue Lock Druid. I think this is risky, though. This is very risky from Storm.
Well, it has to be a bait, right? If it's not a bait, it's what we call a bad idea. And we see Storm right now using that small map. If you use the small map, move basically. If they don't go for playing this comp, it's a terrible idea as well. So they lock in this composition that's favored on this map. If the Storm plays the same composition, though, that they played in the blind, it would be a very bad move, right?
Yeah.
So we are most likely expecting them to change their composition, like Zico said, and most likely seeing Sheepy Boy come in to try to counter what the move has used that looked... It didn't look like it was going to completely run Storm out of the game, right? But it is a comp that actually can go toe-to-toe with what Storm did bring.
Yeah, and Destro Warlocks have a long history in this game. Even back when I competed way back in the day, the strategy was line of sight the Destruction Warlock until later on in the game where your instant damage is more significant than his casted damage, and you can actually just run them over at that point. And I feel like with the composition Storm is bringing, if they decide to lock in that same comp with the Rogue, the Warlock, and the Restoration Druid, I think they won't actually be able to finish off the move. They need to figure out a way to either save all of their cooldowns for a counter push, so when the move finally charges in midfield, they have the Infernals and the Dark Soul, everything available to try to swat them away. Otherwise, I don't see them really winning. I don't think they have the damage to actually push.
Sid, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think they were using Infernals to scare the move away to drink, but Metaphor's drink should pressure the move to have to come out. And then when they come out, then you drop the Infernals.
Yeah.
You don't have to use them
Exactly,
to zone.
yeah.
They already have to come out to stop the drink. And you just keep sitting on Infernals into dampening. Eventually, when you try to make a move, you get clothesline. Potentially, Maldiva has to use Unending Resolve aggressively towards the end of the game so he can get a Chaos Bolt with 3 classes that can interrupt him. But if they're staying with the same composition, it means that they are likely to play more aggressive in game number 2.
Yeah, and if they do win this, it puts them in a great spot, right? Because then all of a sudden that map advantage starts to change. Very risky play, though.
Well, I think Storm thinks that this map is better for them.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but
Yeah.
I think Storm thinks that because there's no other logical reason why they would even try to take this away. There's still going to be Blackrock Hold. There's still going to be Hook Point after this. So there's still a lot of small quarter maps that the move can pick. So taking away Dalaran, sure, it's not great for the move, but moving forward, there's still a lot of good options for them. I don't think the map takeaway is worth the risk at all here. So the only thing I can think of is that they want to have Nesper with the Flying Daggers build, push in behind that pillar. But I think what they're forgetting is that Absterge is going to be one little leap away from just being able to take Metaphors out of that drink while Peekaboo and WizK are pressuring Maldiva, putting him further and further behind. And it's just going to be way easier for WizK to stop his to stop the drinks as well with the Death and Decay. The pets are going to have much more uptime on a map like Nagrand. As a Resto Druid, you can actually root the pet behind the pillar on the other side and then just run around, get the stealth off, and that drops the aggro from that pet. They're not going to be able to do any of those things on a map like this, and Maldiva's going to be like a sitting duck.
It may get sloppy in the sewers. Storm with a risky pick here that they definitely do think is better for him. They're not going to change their compositions, but the move going to have a very interesting composition that's going to be able to instantly get on top of Maldiva like glue.
Yeah, I think the move, they're going to be doing what we saw in game number 1, initially trying to get some pressure on Maldiva, trying to find a win, but eventually when they're caught in a situation where they don't really have too many defensives left, Infernals get dropped out, potentially this is where the move, they opt to retreat back to the pillar, and that's exactly what we see. They do not want to mess with these Infernals. It's not a good trade for them, so they're opting to just avoid it completely. This is what we see a lot of the times from these teams, and that's why I feel like Maldiva, he has to wait for that Infernals, just be a little bit more patient for it, wait for the move to commit more of their offensive cooldowns, like when Peekaboo uses Vendetta, that's when you drop Infernals, and then you actually get value from it.
Exactly what I was going to say. I mean, typically we see Maldiva do that as well. He'll drop the Infernal when you see something like Vendetta, and then the move is forced into the same situation that we saw them go into, where they do want to run away. They want to avoid that damage, and you basically mitigate that offensive blow, and you help yourself defensively. You can see here, though, Maldiva did hold on to his Dark Soul. He's going to be caught, though, for a few seconds here. Now they're not as scared. They're ready to go back in now that the Infernal is done.
Well, the big thing is when Metaphors has spent some of his mana and goes for the drink, that's when you can also drop these to kind of ensure that either you stay out and you're going to be doing bad trades, or we see a Smoke Bomb play on Peekaboo. Big Chaos Bolt, nice grip by WizK. That was very close. Peekaboo, though, overlaps the cloak. A little bit of a miscommunication on the side of the move. And as I was saying that, now Metaphors is drinking, so this is not the biggest issue here for the move. The game has just started, but they need to shut down these drinks later on in the match, because Peekaboo, he's not going to be able to stay alive and stay out in the open for far too long, so they need to make sure that they have WizK's pet on Metaphors at all costs.
Now Peekaboo and Maldiva going to be the ones to trade blow for blow. Vendetta was invested there, and they don't really get too much. Once again, Maldiva is going to be caught here in the kidney, trying to slow down what he can throw out with that Dark Soul, which has just subsided. And they're nice and grouped up for him, which is going to help his shard generation, but he hasn't been able to get out too much pressure yet.
Yep, Peekaboo into a kidney shot. Good pressure here for Storm. With no Cloak of Shadows, Peekaboo could be slightly vulnerable. Nice interrupt there onto Absterge. Now both members of the move rotting down low. Absterge definitely going to have to play a little bit of catch-up right now, but I just feel like if the move is in too much trouble, they're just going to run away and try to hide. And I feel like what I want to see from Storm is try to figure out some way they can actually close out the game when the move is running and hiding on that pillar. I think shutting down Metaphor's drink is going to be important. You can see mana for both healers is evened out at this point in the match. So if Metaphors cannot drink, things will be looking good for the move.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, whenever Metaforce goes for drinks, I want to see offensive cooldowns get used. Oh, big play here onto Maldiva. Gonna force out the Iron Bark as well as that unending resolve here. Metaforce has a lot of catch-up to do. Now, at this point in the game, Metaforce will be going for that drink. I want to see WizK or Absturge on point with the stop here. Metaforce sitting down for the drink at the other end here. Someone needs to stop it or they need to counter-aggress. Not going to be able to find it though. Metaforce is going to probably be able to reset his mana bar completely. So in this situation, I actually want to see Peekaboo be on top of Metaforce, hitting him to kind of force the team of Storm to go after the DK. The DK is kind of like a damage sponge. He can just use that Death Strike to self-sustain himself, and then you can have Peekaboo, similar to when they play Rogue Shadow Priest, go after the healer, prevent him from drinking, make him hot himself up with those healing over time effects, and also burn some extra mana in that way.
It's like a script. The second that Infernal does go down, you see exactly what Fenruki's talking about. The move's just going to take that journey away from him, try to get away from that scary cooldown that he can use. This time around, though, Maldiva tries to area deny a little bit. He does use that Cataclysm to push him out from outside the boxes, but now he's a much less scary target. He doesn't have his wall. This could be a big push.
And definitely Metaforce trying to respond with the Thorns, redirect some of Peekaboo and WizK's damage onto them. Full blind on Absturge, he trinkets out immediately. Peekaboo, both of WizK getting low in this situation. Earthen Shield Totem gets dropped out. That's going to allow the move to play a little bit aggressive here, but Peekaboo could still be in some trouble. Good defense from WizK, gripping Nesper away from Peekaboo as they were looking to take him down in the matchup. Once again, Absturge's mana, he hasn't really been able to drink, but he's holding his own at this point, still on around 30% mana. Metaforce might have to sneak away for a drink once again, but you can see Peekaboo, he actually has his Vendetta available. Maldiva, with no unending resolve, is going to be very vulnerable to that, and I think Metaforce has to be really patient in this matchup with Iron Bark if they actually want to land a kill.
Also, Maldiva can't really counter-aggress here. You can see that Peekaboo is taking quite a bit of damage. That's one of the scary things about WizK and Peekaboo being grouped up right on top of Nesper, and that's one of the reasons that this map can be strong for a rogue like Nesper, who loves to press that Phantom Knives button. Caught here inside of the smoke bomb as well. Peekaboo constantly being that target. He's going to have to feint. You can see Absturge has a lot to work with at the time besides mana. Mana is the resource that has been dwindling down. He's made very good use of the cooldowns. We're going to see that Havoc go out, both of those coils, and that's going to stop the push that we saw when WizK actually drops his AMZ and they try to push in. Well played by Storm.
Yeah, and now Metaforce has activated his Iron Bark and his Thorns. He has low mana, so he's going to be looking for that drink. Now it's up to the move to either counter pressure Maldiva here to make sure that they stop the drink with their pressure, or that they just simply go onto Metaforce and keep him in combat. Maldiva is going to get one Chaos Bolt, almost two. Nice grounding totem though from Absturge is going to shut that down. Peekaboo here looking for the kidney shot. Nice grip as well. Now this is big plays. Going to stop Metaforce from going for that drink. Maldiva still not out of it yet though. Nice smoke bomb being dropped here. We can see a kidney shot onto WizK as well, trying to slow some of that damage down. Maldiva throwing out the Fierce as well, just trying to stabilize a little bit here. But now Iron Bark is available. Metaforce is going to be sneaking off for that drink. I want to see a distract. I want to see Absturge or somebody take after Metaforce there. Not going to be happening instead. Oh, no, Absturge is going to be looking for that stop. Not going to be able to find it though, as Metaforce gets 60% of his mana back.
Yeah, that's definitely a big lead for Storm now. Absturge way behind on mana. Nesper low. He has Evasion and Cloak of Shadows. Gladiator Safeguard will allow him to hold on to those key defensives. And still good rot pressure in the match onto Peekaboo and WizK. Infernals get dropped out once again. What is the move going to do? I think the move is to run away, and I think that's exactly what they are going to be doing. Maldiva looking for some Chaos Bolts. Absturge with good backup runs in, gets the Wind Shear, allowing WizK and Peekaboo to get a full retreat. Now, Absturge potentially going to be sitting down for a drink, but Nesper with his Vanish might be able to land a sap. Absturge immediately realizing the situation, gets in combat, denies the sap from Nesper, and actually completely wastes that cooldown.
Really, really nice setup here from Metaforce and Maldiva. Metaforce goes for the drink. Maldiva drops the Infernals. This is what we were kind of talking about in the start of the match. That's what we like to see from them. Now, Metaforce has a lot of mana to work with here. So the move, they realize that at this point, it doesn't really matter if they let Metaforce drink. The mana that they can conserve by being defensive on Absturge is more valuable to them. And we can see them going for a late game push potentially later as Peekaboo goes for the blind play. Gonna force out the trinket from Metaforce. Now I want to see Peekaboo retreat back to the pillar, try to not take that much damage, and just grip in Nesper, stun him up, wait for a little bit more of dampening, and then go to a big push later on, as we saw them do in game number 1.
That's really the thing right now. I mean, Metaphors, he has all the mana in the world, but Maldiva's not going to be that juicy of a target right now. He wants to be trying to put out the pressure. He can potentially close out the game here. You can see how much of that rot damage does consistently go out onto Peekaboo, and WizK can continue to tax Absterge. So it seems like they don't want to go into the late game. But honestly, if the move can hold on just a little bit longer, Maldiva becomes a juicier and juicier target, and then they can go in for one of those all-in pushes.
Yeah, and I think Maldiva's going to have to be very patient. What we didn't see in the last game is him holding on to Unending Resolve, Infernals, Dark Soul. He needs all of those in order to force the move in a defensive position once again. Once we get to 40% dampening, Metaphor's healing is going to be so reduced onto Maldiva, as well as that passive healing the Destruction Warlock have is going to be mitigated so much with the Assassination Rogue playing the Wound Poison. In addition to dampening, it just really mitigates a lot of that self-healing. So we need Maldiva to have offensive capabilities during those situations, and that's what we're going to be looking for.
Yeah, because he can turn that into a favorable trade for himself, right? If he does have everything, he just pushes all those buttons. That's why you're seeing the move run away. If he holds on to Infernal, to Dark Soul, gets to push them all at once, those Chaos Bolts are just going to end the game very swiftly.
Yeah, and you want to have WizK kind of as the meat shield, so to speak, for the move. You want to have WizK stand out in the open, be the one who applies some kind of pressure, and Peekaboo might be looking for the sap here, actually. Oh, he gets it. Now we're going to see a big trouble on Maldiva. This could potentially be an Icebound an Unending Resolve if the WizK can connect. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. Very nice positioning by Maldiva. That sap, though, is going to net them the Iron Bark, and now Peekaboo is going after Metaphors. This is what I wanted to see earlier. Now Metaphors doesn't have too much mana to work with. WizK is going to be kind of just shutting down Maldiva, forcing Nesper and Maldiva to go onto him instead, and Peekaboo can keep Metaphors in combat this way as well. This is very nice. They need to have somebody kind of babysitting Metaphors. A lot more pressure as well being thrown out this way. We can see Metaphors is going to have to struggle healing himself up. He's going to struggle healing Maldiva up. He's going to burn a lot more mana this way, and dampening is stacking up to about 30%, but Absterge, he has some work to do as well. WizK dropping dangerously low and is running out of cooldowns.
Yeah, and a lot of those things that you said make WizK the better target for those Chaos Bolts to actually be able to heal for Absterge. Those are gone. Anti-Magic Shell going to be gone. AMZ going to be coming up in 4 seconds, but Absterge going to need to use the Ascendants to try to catch up.
Yeah, good control there by Peekaboo, but now he's left all alone. Nice grip from WizK on that Chaos Bolt that would have KO'd Peekaboo in that situation. Really doesn't have too many defensives. Absterge trying to hold on. The move, they need to get back to a pillar. I don't know if they have enough time here to take down Maldiva. Maldiva's managed to hold on to his Unending Resolve. Metaphors as well with the Iron Bark. We need to see the move stabilize. They have to avoid some damage from Maldiva. This isn't the point in the game where they need to make the push. They have to hold on, be patient, wait just a little longer. Peekaboo had a hero play there with a kidney shot on Maldiva and a blind on Nesper, which allowed WizK to escape and survive. Nicely done, but that was just such a close call. We really need to see the move be a little more patient.
Well, there was that huge opportunity that Zico pointed out as well, which makes you really hungry to go in, to push. Metaphors had very little mana left. All of a sudden, Peekaboo can try to tax him, but look, all of a sudden, Storm is going to be able to regain in that department. Metaphors also, besides the mana, is going to have those big cooldowns that can sustain his team even longer. 40% dampening, and Peekaboo and WizK continue to rot down. You can see Maldiva trying to cast out more of those Chaos Bolts. WizK going to be a little bit safer than he was. He is going to have that AMS again, and also, I believe Absterge is going to have, so grounding is not going to be available. Now we are going to see Havoc into the double Mortal Coil. This could be it.
Yeah, full blind on Absterge. Heatran gets out. Is there any follow-up? Maldiva looking for a Chaos Bolt. Peekaboo denies with the Vanished Garrote. Cheap shot on Maldiva. This is the push. This is the opportunity the move need. But Maldiva in the open with that gateway. I don't know if the move's going to be feeling too confident. Maldiva still has the Unending Resolve to deny and counter pressure if he needs. The move, they have to keep playing it patient. I feel like if they're out of line of sight of Maldiva, I really don't see them going down anytime soon. I mean, potentially soon. It is 42% dampening, but at some point, Storm will have to make an offensive push. Nesper does have the Vendetta available, a major offensive tool for the Rogue, but he's caught into a stun, taking some damage. Kidney shot now on WizK. Nesper just trying to solo him. Maldiva completely out of line of sight, doing 0 damage in this situation. Metaphor's mana doing quite well. He's very healthy. The move, really, their only hope is to just make a final offensive push and just kill them through everything.
Maldiva trying to coax them out there with that Cataclysm. Then he moves over to the side, and they're just like, we're comfortable. We're just going to dance around this box. We'll see you a little bit later. Nesper taking plenty of damage, but he has been able to at least keep some semblance of pressure on. Harass just a little bit, getting in there. Fan of Knives, do whatever he can do. But we have almost a reset here.
Yeah, I really like what Whiskey is doing and Absterge as well, making sure that they are not healing Whiskey. Instead, he gets to self-sustain with those death strikes. His mana bar is way too precious, but now Storm are pushing in. They are tired of this. They are going in now. Big damage coming in onto Whiskey, activating that Icebound Fortitude, trying to sustain himself here. Metaforce as well now, though, getting caught up in that Asphyxiate. We could see a potential offensive push here from the move as the entire team of Storm are piling onto them at this pillar.
Yeah, Whiskey trying to deny some damage with that anti-magic zone. Maldiva on the pillar. This is not an ideal situation for him, but you really can't blame him. He's trying to survive. Nesper actually taking a lot of damage. He's under fire. He does have the evasion and Cloak of Shadows if he really needs it. If the move can get any damage on Maldiva, it's going to be looking good, but Maldiva in center field once again. They don't want to overcommit. They want to wait out, try to stabilize through that Infernal. Now Maldiva getting gripped in, gates away. Now they managed to pull that cooldown out, which is actually significant. Peekaboo forced to trinket out of that kidney shot. Peekaboo could be vulnerable here as well. Metaphor is actually sitting down, getting a complete reset on his mana, but we saw that in the last game. It didn't end up mattering too much. Absterge has just been coasting on 15% mana.
Keep in mind as well, when we first got to this map, we said, this is a terrible map for Storm. We don't think that this is going to be a good map. If they are able to take this one, tie up the series, they just managed to get a win on a map that looked terrible for them. And that can be very important for them to turn this around after they get a feel for a comp that seems to be a specialty comp that the move made just to counter what the Storm is bringing. Once again, we're going to see. Here we go.
Yeah, nice sap onto Nesper. Peekaboo found him. Kidney shot on Maldiva. Cheap shot on Metaphor. Here it is. This is the push they needed. Smoke bomb from Nesper, though, looking for some damage onto Peekaboo. Peekaboo's already committed his Vendetta, but he might have to run away. Might have to trade out the evasion and the Cloak of Shadows to survive, but Maldiva with Thorns, with Ironbark, he's going to be very tanky. Also has the Unending Resolve if he really needs it, but it looks like the move, they're just going to be going for it.
Yeah, this is the major push we're talking about. Maldiva's gonna have to use his Unending Resolve very soon. He's waiting way too long with it. He's gonna go down maybe potentially in this kidney shot as he goes lower and lower. 60% dampening, and the move does it.
That was in the wall. We see that wall come out at the end there, but too much damage had already been done. 61% dampening. I don't care how much mana you have, Metaphors. You're not gonna be able to heal through that. We have seen the move take down another one.
Potential cross kill on Absterge and Ghost Wolf, though. I think he should be able to survive. Nesper still looking for that kill, but a full blind from Peekaboo. Nesper playing Relentless has no way out. Certainly going to be followed up with the sap, and that will deny the kill. I don't think that Storm will be able to come back in this, but they don't want to give up at 63% dampening. Really anything can happen. It's just going to be about the move of trying to avoid some damage. Pressure down Nesper. Full kidney shot will be committed. He feinted it, so he might be able to survive, but Absterge has bought himself a little bit of time to drink.
Good as
like
boy.
Metaphors is giving up.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with Absterge in that particular situation. He just gets to say, I'm going to be the goodest boy. I'm going to run away. He gets inside of that Ghost Wolf. That's going to help him sustain himself. You see him very quickly there, too. Put the Earth Shield on. Try to shrug off that blow. He's able to do just that, and that's another victory in the back pocket of the move. Zico, this composition's fantastic, but the map didn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look for Storm. I do think that we should kind of dial back on that, because initially we go, Dalaran Sewers, why on earth does Storm want to be here? They do look relatively strong there.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to what you do before dampening. I think Metaphors actually had a lot of opportunities to drink when the move potentially could have stopped some of those drinks, because the threat just isn't there. I want to see Peekaboo maybe tunnel Metaphors is one option, or have Absterge just sneak in and stop Metaphors when he reaches that 50% or so mark, and that way they can really punish the map pick harder. Regardless, though, the strength of what the move brought here is that Absterge didn't really throw his heals onto the Death Knight at all. Instead, you had Peekaboo and Whiskey, line of sight Maldiva. If Nesper pushed him behind the pillar, they attacked him. And if Nesper didn't push behind the pillar, then they would just death strike that pet of Maldiva. And he needs to have his pet there, because otherwise Absterge is going to drink. So it's also kind of a checkmate situation. And then when dampening gets high enough, you push in, you have all of your defense activated, and then you just sit on that Warlock, you kill him through everything. You're at 60% dampening. Metaphors can have 200% mana, it won't matter.
With that, do we think that Storm needs to try to play a little bit more aggro?
I feel like it's really hard for them when basically what's happening is whenever Maldiva pushes in, they just go on him, and then it's easy to just interrupt him. When you don't have interrupts, you run behind the pillar, you avoid Chaos Bolts, and it just becomes a favorable situation for the move. When he's in the open, they just avoid him entirely, and then they just wait for a moment. It's 63% dampening. Peekaboo found a re-stealth. He managed to sap Nesper, cheap shot up Metaphors, and that was the final push that they needed to eventually take down Maldiva through everything. Didn't matter that Metaphors had Iron Bark, he had Unending Resolve, he had everything. They just had the damage that they needed, all the defensive cooldowns, including AMZ. They just felt safe and confident making that final push. So I feel like we could say Maldiva should play more aggressive, but I think it's easier said than done.
I mean, also, look, every time he did try to get aggressive, they just ran away, right? So we have seen the move somewhat figure out the composition that Storm have looked so good on throughout the year, but now we're going to have to see if they can keep the momentum alive and if they're going to be able to take this series.
The map, for the record, I don't know, the predictions have been on point today.
Affliction would have been an awful choice, but Ruins of Lordaeron
would be a fitting final resting place.
The move going to be leading in this series by 2. Just one more win here, and they will be sending Storm home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the move up to match point to try and secure a top finish here in the North American Cup number 3. Their performance in this meta has been lackluster, to say the least, but finally they have a composition to battle back against the Restoration Druid Menace. Will it be enough here, or will Storm come back on Ruins of Lordaeron? They have to win 3 in a row, a tall order against the runner-ups of the BlizzCon Championship last year. Absterge in center field, playing aggressive with his team. Maldiva gaining back to the tombstone in center field as the entire team of the move collapse on top of him. Metaphors playing at the tombstones far back. Rain of Fire ramp potentially. No, Maldiva not activating the Infernals. Just trying to get a little bit of instant cast damage. Maybe he's changed his talent, something I'm going to check out here very shortly, because if he is running for more instant cast damage, that could be a way to get around the move, just avoiding his Chaos Bolts.
Yeah, and that was exactly what they did try to do last time around. He's going to get sheared on that Chaos Bolt. It is Metaphors who's caught in the kidney right now. He's going to have to trade out a little bit there, and Asphyxiate is going to follow. Thorn's going to be used, and you can see Peekaboo just rotting down. It is going to be Absterge now who's caught in the fear, who's trying to pick up his team as quick as possible, as Peekaboo is going to keep Metaphors in his sight. Demonic Gateway is going to get him out, but it's Peekaboo who is in dodge now, trading out WizK, going to use everything he can. That's going to be a not a great link either.
That's almost a triple kill. They're very close to a triple kill right now, Storm. All 3 members dangerously low. Absterge locked down in crowd control. Are they going to execute a triple kill against the move here this early on? So much pressure, so much damage from Storm here as they're on match point and facing elimination, trying to claw their way back into the battle, but Absterge is slowly starting to restabilize.
Absterge, how are you going to do this? You have so many different targets, all on low HP, all without cooldowns. As you see, Peekaboo caught up in another kidney shot. There's the double mortal code. Can they close? Maldiva's looking for the Chaos Bolt. Gets wind sheared though. Cataclysm is coming out. Metaphors caught up in that kidney shot. We can see a nice fear here onto Absterge. Another Chaos Bolt being casted. Another fear. There's the Chaos Bolt. Nice interrupt though from Absterge. But Maldiva is still looking for it. WizK getting feared up. Nice pet interrupt as well. They need to line of sight Maldiva as we see Nesper throw WizK in that kidney shot. Smoke bomb. Big trouble for WizK, but he manages to sustain himself just enough with that Death Strike. Absterge has so much work to do now, though.
The fact that they've managed to even survive this long after trading out essentially every single utility you have, every single defensive cooldown, is absurd, because the amount of damage that we've seen from Maldiva and Nesper, it looked like it should be enough to do it. If they survive another minute here, maybe the move can get a reset, but as of right now, it's still looking grim here in the cemetery.
All right, the move, you've managed to hang on. Absterge does it. He's got a mana lead. Actually, Metaphor sat down for a drink, realizing that that could have been a throwaway for the game. Manages to restabilize. Peekaboo locked down in a kidney shot. Where is Maldiva? He's ready and waiting. One Chaos Bolt straight after Peekaboo. Absterge has Earthen Wall Totem protecting the team at the top of the tombstone. That defense needs to be enough here. There was huge damage from Storm earlier on, but now it appears to have subsided as we wait for the next wave. Vendetta available in 7 seconds for Nesper. Peekaboo already has his ready and waiting in the wings. Fear into Chaos Bolt. Good setup by Maldiva. Now Kidney Shot to follow up. Great execution by Storm here on game 3. They're definitely a lot more assertive, and this is what they need to do if they want to stay in the tournament.
I mean, you have cooldowns now, you have the cloak, you have the evasion if you are Peekaboo, but once again, this pressure, it's just all on Storm. They are just able to completely set the tempo here. Vendetta and Dark Soul going to be invested. Peekaboo trying to counter-aggress. Absturge going to have to drop down the totem.
Yeah, Metaforce now is also in big trouble. If they can connect with a kidney shot, Peekaboo is looking for it. Nice Garrote. Garrote onto Maldiva as well. Is he going to go for the kidney shot though? No, he's not going to go for the kidney shot. He's going to stay back instead. Looking at Nesper now, I do believe, as WizK and Peekaboo are retreating once again. The stall-based tactic is not working out too badly for them though. If Absturge actually has managed to recover everybody, they're running on the Inferno, so now there's finally going to be a breathing moment. But I really don't like the move just going after Metaforce the game all over, because Metaforce is running that renewal. He's been seeing this coming, so he's well prepared. Very nice talent choice there from him, and that is eventually what the move has realized now as he revealed that hand. Instead, I think they should turn their pressure over onto Maldiva as Peekaboo gets caught up in another kidney shot though. Not going to be too scary for him, and now WizK and Peekaboo finally putting some pressure onto Maldiva. Metaforce though going to be able to deflect that very easily.
Metaforce manages to run all the way over to Narnia, gets a full gas tank yet again. Maldiva taking a little bit of pressure here, but he's not too scared at all. Thorns is traded out. The wall is going to be held onto. Now it is Metaforce who is caught in that asphyxiate for just a little bit of time into a cap totem. A nice CC chain coming out there, but Metaforce, he hangs out in Bear, and you know, he's not too concerned about himself, and everybody else is looking quite healthy.
Defensive smoke bomb, and he manages to reverse it for some aggression as well. Great play by Peekaboo, denying a Chaos Bolt, but ultimately still going to connect. Maldiva is definitely playing a lot more aggressive here on the final game. He needs to. He has to execute for a kill. Blind on Absturge, but it's on diminishing return. A critical mistake on the side of Storm. Now they lose their most potent crowd control for the rest of the fight, likely, at this point with the momentum that's been available. Nesper has an opportunity to go for a smoke bomb kill. I'm really waiting for him to pull the trigger on that. He could take Peekaboo out quite swiftly if he can pull him away and separate him from Absturge. Just not able to find the separation. There's the kidney shots. Smoke bombing here would be a mistake. Absturge is so close by. They can't manage to separate Absturge and Peekaboo, but the damage is just insane. Maledict flies through Cloak of Shadows to remove it. Now Peekaboo looks to counterattack.
Yeah, very nice actually to kidney shot Nesper there and just line of sight Maldiva. That way you are going to be able to survive the aggression coming out of Storm. Now Metaforce is looking for a drink, probably going to be able to reset his mana bar completely. As we see, WizK is looking to turn on the pressure onto Maldiva. WizK's defensive cooldowns is really the big picture here. If WizK manages to get all of those defensive cooldowns back, he can then stay in and actually turn on the heat over onto Maldiva. As we see, Metaforce trinket a blind into a stun. Nice deflection though from Maldiva, and there's the smoke bomb from Nesper. Not going to be able to achieve too much though. Maldiva as well with a beautiful Shadow Fury to save Metaforce there, but Metaforce not out of the woods just yet. Peekaboo still hungry for it. Nice Maledict combo.
Oh my goodness!
Metaforce in huge trouble as he might go down in this third and potentially final game here.
It's match point, and Metaforce is gonna fall. The move have done it. They 3-0 the Storm. They make it out alive, and on the other side to Championship Sunday.
Bark, skin, all of it chewed through. The move found the perfect moment, and they are able to take down Metaforce. And, you know, in the final moments there, a couple of tiny little whiffs. You look at that smoke bomb, the placement there, it's not able to get anything done. And the move, who seem to be in dire straits, are going to be able to sneak through.
Yeah, just, again, they blind up Metaforce. When it looks like his team is ahead, he wants to trinket to keep his team aggressive, and we see that nice Death Grip and Asphyxiate combo coming out of WizK, and we can actually see it right here. There's the blind. Metaforce trinkets. You see Peekaboo is very low. He thinks everything is fine, gets gripped. Nice shutdown there from Maldiva, but it also baits Metaforce there into thinking that he's fine. Doesn't commit the Bark Skin, doesn't commit anything really, and Peekaboo and WizK have a lot of range damage. At this point, Metaforce Metaphor still hasn't used his bark skin, and finally at 20-30% that Gladiator's Maledict combo, he's just not using anything. There, the bark skin comes in way too late. Hapsters as well, dumping his mana with those final purges, realizing that Metaphors is just playing way too greedily, and he punishes him for it. Very, very nice there by Hapsters as well. I gotta hand it to him. He was for sure the MVP, managing to sustain the team after that terrible opener they had. It requires a lot. He must be sweating.
Oh man, I mean, look at his positioning too. Ultimately, in the opener, he has to trade out just about everything. You know that just surviving to have those cooldowns again is going to be a huge task, but he always stays right on top of his team. That threat of Link is there, so we see time and time again Maldiva and Nesper having to act accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, Abster just doing a tremendous job once again. We always see these shamans, they really know how to stay alive in these dire situations, relying on that mastery. The way shaman mastery works is your heals become more effective when healing people that are low HP. So when you see an entire shaman team down to 20% health, their Riptides are going to be empowered, a healing stream totem's going to be empowered, Earth Shield gets empowered, and that way they can basically hang on for dear life in those really dire moments. And healers like Absterge, they're able to really utilize that mastery, keep their team in it, and stay alive.
And also, you just see their plan working so well on the side of the move. They go, yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can let Metaphors do whatever the heck he wants. He can go into anybody's starting room. We don't care. He can drink as much as he wants. It's not going to bother us. And ultimately, we see him go down with pretty much a full tank of mana and all of his defensive cooldowns. So they are able to do just that. And the move is going to make it to Championship Sunday, their best performance of the year. But who are they going to be playing against? We talk about this bracket potentially working out for the move.